homies.
Is this an
From
hour
Clueless.
show or how long?
How long? This is a 4-hour show. No, it's like we go like 30 minutes. And we're
Okay,
like,
cool. I'm here with
what?
you.
Yeah, you're here with me, girl. Welcome back to the Get Up Girl podcast. I am your gal, Joanna Vargas. I am with one of my co-workers. I don't even like that word, Brynn. One of my co-players, we'll call it. My
Yeah.
co-players, because we play. And this is
Yeah.
Brynn Marie. Welcome her to the podcast. She also has her own podcast called Brynn Moves. So check that out. She's a certified health coach. She is a dancer as well in the his house and teaches yoga, spin, fitness, everything under the sun, and is a boss babe and everything else in between. So she and I were chatting right before. We're like, what are we going to talk about? Let's start
Yeah.
with trusting the universe and move from there. Brynn, welcome
Yes.
to the show.
Thank you, Joanna. I'm so happy to be here. I love that we do this together. Thank you for giving me a shout out for my podcast as well. Yeah, I hope everyone can listen in and just, I always hope that whenever I get to share, that it at least touches one person, that someone who's listening today just hears this and it's what you needed. And I always tell people like share it with a friend. So take this recording and pass it along to someone else who needs to hear it today. And yeah, Joanna, I love your energy, and I'm so happy that you asked me to jump on here with you today. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, you know I got energy. I got 10x enough for everybody. But then also after I'll crash. But if you think I'm like this all the time, I'm not. I'll come home and I'm like on the couch.
Yeah,
Welcome
we need
to
the,
the
the moments to refuel.
heck yeah. I'm an extroverted introvert.
hmm
Well, I really would love to get your background. Quick little tell us about how your life went from dance and then now into nutrition and helping people that way and goal setting. You and I kind of have a similar trajectory.
Sure. So I moved to LA about 8 years ago. We'll start there with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree with a dance major. I identified as a dancer my entire life.
Mhm.
I like would eat, sleep, and breathe dance. And that was my thing. I love the artistry of it. I loved expressing myself in that way. Whenever I was in the dance studio, I just felt like that was a dance studio to me, even now, is still like home. It's just like that safe place, that special place. Anyone who's listening that's like an athlete or played a sport or was a dancer, also like you totally know that feeling, right? If you were a basketball player, you feel that way on the basketball court. Like you're like, that's my like place to just like, I feel the most at home. I feel like I can get away and just like be myself, right? So I moved to LA pursuing a career in dance and, in the industry. And how do I say this? It wasn't everything that I thought it would be. And I know Joanna,
Okay.
you and I have chatted, and yeah, we maybe have a similar experience, but
Yeah.
I realized that I kind of like the idea of the finished product or the job or the gig or the being in the lights, but I didn't really enjoy the process. And I think in life we have to really enjoy the journey of what we're doing because the outcome's always unknown, right? We're not in charge of what happens. We're only in charge of what we do each day, the energy that we bring, the effort that we put forward. But we can't control like what's going to happen, right? And so, I had to learn that lesson that I don't
Mhm.
control the outcome and kind of surrender to the process. And I realized I don't really enjoy this process as much as I thought that I did or that I used to. And so I trained to teach yoga because I was part of a yoga studio right when I moved to LA. I was like, I need yoga. I need to make friends. It was a great community. And so I started going to Core Power Yoga in Hollywood and Studio City. And I was like, I can do this. I can be a yoga teacher. I can do what these teachers are doing. Like, this is great. And it was like right up my alley because I already loved yoga, already loved movement,
Yeah.
obviously, and music. And I was like, I can do this. I did my first yoga teacher training, and it was a very humbling experience because I thought I already knew everything about movement, and I was like, this is going to be easy. Like, I got this in the bag. And then I started teacher training and realized like I had a lot to learn.
We're
And
so cute.
that teaching yoga and fitness was different than teaching dance to kids and was and was just a different skill set I had to learn. And so I threw myself in, humbled myself there, and put my head down and got to work on becoming a great yoga teacher, and really perfecting my craft in that space. And so and you get better with experience, right? So as I started teaching, it really became my thing. So I got to a point where I was teaching like 19 hot yoga classes and like 8 dance classes every week, plus like taking dance classes, still kind of going to auditions, but also being like, is this what I want to do?
Welcome to the life of a dancer, right?
Yeah.
Hustle and
And
hustling, right, Brynn?
yeah, I just always kind of felt unsettled. Like, what am I doing? I often felt, I don't like to say always, I often felt lost or confused about like, what is my purpose here? What is my life? Like, what am I actually here to do? And so I'm like going through this in my mind, like, then what happened? I remember guiding this boot camp program at the yoga studio, and I really loved it. But the part I loved about it was the food journaling and helping people with their meal planning and talking to people about what they were eating. And I didn't really have much background in nutrition except what I had learned at like in college or at some dance, intensives in the summer or something,
Yeah.
right? But I knew that I liked talking about this with people, and I felt passionate about helping them. So fast forward, I ended up starting a virtual wellness business with Arbonne, which is a vegan health and wellness brand. And I am so glad now, Joanna, too, that you are, starting to dive into this journey with us as well. And this has just been a great way for me to help and serve my community and touch a lot of lives and learn about nutrition, learn about coaching people, and learn about my own health and own body. So I did a 30-day clean eating program. It really jump-started my own personal wellness journey. And then from there, I decided I wanted to help people even more, and I wanted to know even more and be really, truly educated. So I jumped in and did a health coaching program. So I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. If anyone's ever heard of that or gone there, it's a great program. It's like the largest nutrition school, I think, in the world. And so I was very excited to learn. And I completed that program through the pandemic, which was a great time to just sit down and buckle down and like learn and grow. I feel like we had a couple options during that time to sit and feel stuck, or to be like, I'm gonna learn something new. I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna perfect a new craft. And so I am now a certified integrative nutrition health coach, and so I coach clients one-on-one. I really love focusing on working with women, especially. So I also have a group program for women. And then during the pandemic, I also started my podcast. So we're just a little over a year into Brynn Moves, the podcast. And yeah, that's pretty much my story. And so I still get to teach yoga and fitness today, and that's how we know each other, right? But I feel less pressure of like, I don't feel like I have to take my passion and be like, oh, I have to pay my bills with this. I get to do something I love. And then I also get to pay my bills by doing something else I love, but that the journey and the path makes more sense to me. And I actually enjoy the journey and the path of my wellness, businesses and this entrepreneurial space that I'm in. And so, I'm always a dancer at heart. I love to move. But, right now I'm really focused on, inspiring and empowering lives through better health and a holistic approach to health.
Brynn, I really enjoyed how you said the journey, falling in love and knowing and falling in love with that journey. I'm so there with you. I feel like I'm not sure if my audio's off. Comment if so. We got a couple comments.
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay. But you and I are very similar because I was on that go, 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 same thing until my late 20s. And I asked a question, like surrendered, what is this? Like, what am I really doing it for? Because I'd hit a goal, Brynn, and then I'd be bored. Hit another goal, never celebrated, ever. Hit the next goal, until I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep hitting a million goals, and I'm never, ever, ever going to get to where I would like. And I'm like, oh, the journey is actually not getting there. It's having fun until my last breath I take. And just like how you said, how we teach, I teach because it's so fun, not because I have to.
Yeah, the journey, I think, is the gift, and it is our life. That's what makes up most of our life, right? Is the journey. The actual end result of things is like a second, right? Like I remember training for dance shows where
Yeah,
like we would train and train and
forever
train and train and train
for 3
and
minutes.
rehearse and do it over and over and over, right? And yeah, that's how you get good, right? Is through repetition. Everything about repetition in order to be great at what you do. So I'm grateful for those experiences, but it was like you get to the show and it's like goes by in 1 second. Like you see the audience, you see that big crowd, you see the lights, the music comes on, you perform for 2 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever, and then it's done. And you're like, oh
Next
my God,
costume,
that was it.
next
It was
routine.
gone. That was it. Yeah, like now I'm on to the next. And it's just,
Next.
yeah, you really have to learn that lesson of like loving the journey of whatever you're doing, kind of being practicing non-attachment, and that's something I learned in yoga, to end result, and instead being open, like having an intention and going in a direction, but being open to like what might come, but really enjoying, like you said, the process, because that's like what our daily life is made up of, is like the process of
Process.
whatever we're working on.
Like with dance rehearsals and then getting to the stage, I always thought it was just the stage. But looking back, the best parts were in the dance studio. Like you said, your home. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you walk in. And that's what I missed with fitness, being in a room with mirrors, being in a room with speakers. I'm like, yes, that's what it's here. This is where it is. I love that,
Mhm.
Brynn. Well, talking about trusting the universe, trusting life, and moving through it, what are some of the things that are coming up right now for you, especially in the beginning of 2022,
Mhm.
for your lessons and everybody else listening as well?
Yeah. So, at the beginning of every year, I feel like people really focus on, and we hear a lot of people saying like New Year's resolutions, right? And I'm less of a fan of resolutions and more of a fan of, um, setting purposeful direction or intention.
Yeah.
And intention to me is the direction in which you'd like to move. So it's less about a specific goal or end result. I think sometimes when I think it's a balance, because we do have to be specific when we're manifesting and asking the universe or God or whatever you believe in. When we're asking big for things, we do have to get more specific. And the more specific we get, um, the more we're able to tune into what we need to do next, what our next steps are in order to reach that vision, right? But at the same time, like I said earlier, we have to practice non-attachment because we don't know what the end result is going to be. There's some things, right, in life, we've all experienced stuff that we just didn't know was going to happen. And that's where our toolbox really comes in handy, of all the self work and personal development and growth that we do, and all the personal care practices, and journaling and meditating, and learning self-regulation practices. Like that's where all that stuff comes in handy, is when we're hit with like the things we didn't know were coming, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm a big fan of setting intention, setting direction, figuring out in this new year, where do I want to go and what am I working towards? And then breaking it down to being like, how am I going to get there? And one of the things that my man always says is goals are different from desires. So we can make a list of our desires, but at the end of the day, we don't know if those things are going to happen for us or not. Are they part of our journey or not? Right. But
Mhm.
what we can do is focus on the things we can control. How
Yeah.
much work am I putting in? How much effort? How much time? How much commitment? What energy am I showing up with? So going through and going, okay, if I have a goal in the new year, or what I think is a goal, but really is a desire um, to grow my business to a certain number of clients or earn a certain amount of income, right? Maybe I can't exactly control that and know that I'm going to hit that number, right? But what I can do is go in and go, okay, that's my desire, but my goal is to talk to 30 new people every month. My
Mhm.
goal is to do 5 health histories with 30-minute consultations with new clients every month. My goal is to talk to 10 people every week who take my classes, their personal health and wellness goals. Right? Like these are things that I can actually control. I can walk up to 10 people and connect with them, right? And so that's kind of the difference between goals and desires, right? And so, obviously this year already, you asked me like what's been coming up for me. And I've done my intention setting and we did some together, right? Around like what our desires are, right? And what our kind of like vision is. And even already in the few days we've had of January, we're like halfway through January. I've already been facing so many different personal challenges with family. My mom is healthy now and is on her road to healing, but she unfortunately had a heart attack, was in the hospital. She lives in Michigan. I couldn't be with her. I faced some of my own personal health challenges, I guess you can call them, and feminine challenges or things personal to me as a woman that that I'm not ready to talk about fully yet, like on social or in public, but I will one day. But I faced challenges. We face challenges and hardship every day in small and big ways. And I think it's always important that we just recognize those things. And instead of judging ourselves or getting in that like shame, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. I'm about to say
yes,
like shit storm, like the shame shit storm. Like instead of like
like
getting in that, bringing in a lot of compassion and figuring out how to pull the tools out of my toolbox that I've worked on for years in my own coaching, right, with my coach, and being like, how can I move through some of the challenges I'm already facing? Because you think, man, it's a new year. I'm going to start fresh. It's going to be great. And then all of a sudden, like things are you're just like, they're coming from one direction and the other, and my partner faces his own challenges. And so I'm also here to move through those with him. And so it's just like, like we have life happening to us all around. And I think we just have to trust the timing, like the title of the show, right? The timing of the universe. And it's just been it's always a lesson in surrender. This year has already started off as, nope, you haven't learned the lesson yet, Brynn. And you're going to learn the lesson of surrender, of trust, of going slower, of writing that big fat permission slip to yourself that says, I can slow down. My only job right now is to heal, and just giving myself permission to be in that space and move through what I'm moving through without guilt, without shame, without stories. I always say no shame, no stories.
I want to celebrate you, Brynn. You are one of the many people that I know that, and I don't want to preface this in an incorrect way of the energy that I want to say. It's not about the push energy, because many times we could push through it. Like, come on, you can do it, push through it. I'm like, that doesn't work for me. Rather than the energy of ease through it. And when you have challenging things in life, you show up. I think that is such a gift in people to see them like, I show up in the ugly and the pretty and the all of it. And I'm here. I show up. And I really celebrate that in you. And I've noticed that. And if people see that, I think we see that in our friends, we see that in our family, the ones that hide and the ones that show up. And there's nothing wrong with hiding. There's nothing wrong or right with showing up. It's a choice. And what I'm saying is I noticed that. I noticed that. So please don't make yourself wrong. You are welcome. And if you're listening, please don't make yourself wrong or judge yourself if you hide. Because I am a hider. I am a recovering hider. And I made myself wrong and judged the hell of that shit storm of when I would hide. Yeah. Now I'm aware of it.
We all have.
We all, yes. Like, oh, that is again. And go into my wrongness. I'm like, Joanna, you're not wrong. You're just hiding right now. And then I ask a question. What is this? Oh, okay. And I get really aware and I sit with it. What is this? Get curious. What is the hiding? I would love to ask you, what is your favorite tool when the shitstorm happens? Do you have your favorite go-to or maybe 3 go-tos? Because I love to give a tool.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I always like to remind myself is, ask myself, how would I coach a friend through this, or a client, right? What would I say to someone else that I love, or my partner?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that if I was talking to a best friend who was going through challenges or facing turbulent times, I would be so loving and so kind to them.
Mm-hmm.
I would show up with so much compassion and so much empathy, and encourage them to be brave, and to not beat themselves up, and to not have guilt or shame. And so I just remind myself, I ask myself when I'm coaching myself, right? We talk to ourselves during the day, like, more than anyone talks to us, right? Like, your own voice is in your head all day long. Like, hello, it's me again. Like, and I always ask myself, like, how would I coach a friend through this? What would I say to someone else that I love? How would I speak to my bonus children, right? I have 3 beautiful stepdaughters. Like, how would I speak to them if they were going through this challenge? And then I go, okay, that's how you need to speak to yourself. That's the advice you give to yourself. And I remember then to be softer, to be gentler, to be kinder, to be more loving to myself. Because the truth is, we can't offer that to other people, which we want to, right? Unless we know how to first offer that love and kindness to ourselves. And so the practice really starts right here at home. Some of my other favorite tools are, for the last couple of years, I've been really working on a more divine feminine practice, and really diving into my femininity, which, for get up girls and girls who are go-getters, right? Sometimes that can be hard, because we live in our masculine a lot when it comes to like being organized and being boss babes, or whatever you like to call it, like, we're productive and we're out to chase our goals and reach our goals. And that's a lot of masculine, right, in our lives every day. And a lot of structure. And so I've been really diving into my feminine lately, and focusing on how can I soften, how can I find more flow. So when you said, you notice that I'm not always pushing, and it's great that you said that, because to me, I thought, take that as a moment of like, someone's recognizing your growth, Brynn. Like, because I feel like I was a pusher, like, what does she say in Mean Girls? Like, I'm a pusher, Katie.
Yeah.
I push people, like, I was like,
Love that movie.
Yeah, like, maybe I was a little bit of a pusher, right? And like a bulldozer, like a plow through this kind of energy. And that's really masculine, And so I've learned to balance the go versus the flow. When am I going? When am I flowing? When is it going to serve me to be in my masculine? And when is it actually going to serve me to be in my feminine? And the feminine is our creative space. It's the space where we love. It's the nourishing and nurturing space. It's the soft and beautiful things in life, right? And so, I've been on a journey the last couple of years of diving into the feminine. And so some of my practices with that are like taking a longer morning for myself, where like it's a quiet morning that's slow and not rushing myself, making my tea, doing a face mask, or like self-care, or, self-massage, or, or like laying in bed a little longer and taking my time to get up. Whereas I used to think like, oh my God, that's lazy. And now I'm like, some days I need that. If I don't have to get up and do something, some days I need to slow down in the morning, in order to be my best, in order to show up and do my best work with my clients or through the rest of the day. And then I love an embodiment practice, like just moving in a non-linear way is so great for women. And honestly, I said this to my coaching group today, but to some women that I coach with, and they said, I've been avoiding my embodiment practice. I'm just going to admit it out loud on here too. And I said, today, after this podcast, I am going to go turn some music on, light some candles or some Palo Santo or something, like cleanse the space, and just like shut my eyes and allow myself to move. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm just letting like the stuff inside of me come up and out. I'm moving it up and out because I've certainly challenges this year or some stressors that I know are ready to come out of my tissues and
Yeah.
leave my body, and just move through them in a gentle and soft way. So yeah, nonlinear embodiment practice for women, closing your eyes, light those candles, shut down the lights, put on a really nice song, and just do what literally whatever comes out of your body. And it like feels
Yeah.
incredible. So I'm hoping all of you can hold me accountable for that because I just said it out loud on here that I'm doing it today. And I am going to commit to doing that practice again every day because it is like how you said, sometimes we hide. I've been
Yes.
running and hiding from that one for
Hiding
the
from the
beginning of this
environment.
year. Yeah.
I love how you said both. It's interesting. I think when people get to know me, they usually say, "Wow, Joanna, you're so much softer than I thought." And I'm like, "Oh, this is actually me." And it's interesting that I don't see what other people see. It might seem like, "Arr!" I'm like, I'm actually like 90% soft and like 10%, like I said, extroverted introvert. I'm like, I'm really more of an introvert. I am like more feminine than you can even imagine. And I'm going, okay, so then getting curious, Brynn, what is that? Is that a performance? Am I performing? Like, what is it really? And I'm like, I actually love being loud and fun. I love being both. And can I receive that people see me one way? Or how can I even get deeper? It's really getting curious. My word for last year, 2021, it's on my intent bracelet, is A-N-D. So I really wanted to embrace and fall in love with the both. I am this and I am that. I'm lazy and I'm hardworking. I mean, I'm a bitch and I'm sweet. It is what is
Yeah.
yeah, it's what is required right now. And you said like, what is serving going to serve me? I asked like, what is required? Sometimes being a fire breathing bitch gets stuff done, and sometimes it doesn't get stuff done. Sometimes you
Yes.
catch more bees with honey. I mean, what is it?
Yes.
Flies with honey? Yeah, just
No,
whatever
bees.
is
Yeah, you're right.
required.
You're right. That's
Bees,
yeah.
yeah. What is required right now, and really being aware and knowing my body. And I ask myself questions and my body will tell me because my body is bomb. And I
Yeah.
think many times we think, Brynn, our body is right away we go into body as fitness. We go into body as this kind of energy. And I wonder if we can talk about the body in a more awareness way, because I
Mhm.
am a tuning fork. I am like a an antenna just picking
Mhm.
up, and I know stuff and I am aware, and I am this radio wave that could just pick up all kinds of stuff. So when I ask a question, my body will light up. It will tell me something. It could just,
Mhm.
I hope you get what I'm saying, right? So when I talk about body, it's like, ooh, what else is there?
Yeah, I actually love talking about this. I coach a lot of female clients, and many of them are actually the first thing that came to mind when you were just talking about your body lighting up is many of my clients and friends that are women are seeking a partner, are seeking their king, are looking for their lover, are wanting to be in relationship.
Yeah.
And I love talking about listening to your body when it comes to that or making any decisions. But that's the first thing that came to mind when you said
Yes.
light up. And I thought,
Yeah.
ooh, like let's talk about like intimacy and partnership for a
Yes.
second because um one, trust the timing of the universe because it's just like anything else. We can the more we like push and try to dig our nails in and I think the less like what we really need comes to us. And it's more about, like you said, softening, stepping back, feminine, and being open to what's coming to us and open to receiving. And that's a big lesson to learn, right? To take a step back, to take your window off the or your face off the window or the glass door, like like
I like that.
right, like to like back up,
Yeah.
right? Like the door is gonna open when
Mm.
it's the right timing for you, and it's about trusting that, and then it's about trusting your body, which comes only when you slow down.
Mm.
If we're moving so fast, if we're bulldozing through, if we're always like go and forward and trying to be so linear,
Mhm.
it's impossible to feel the feminine, to feel your intuition, right? Women have such strong intuition. We have to be able to listen to that. And in order to listen to that, we have to first slow down. We have to give ourselves more space and more time to actually let come up what's coming up. And once we hear it, we have to actually trust it.
That's the part where I've seen as myself, like, okay. Yeah.
So what I love to teach people is to start to recognize what's a yes and what's a no in your physical body.
Yes.
And
Brynn,
like
dang,
you said,
let's
your
go.
actual body, when you slow down enough and you listen and you get out of from the neck up space, stop trying to brain your way through life, right? We have to feel our way through life. That's what we do as women. We have a gift to be able to do that, to be led and guided by our intuition, which is connected to the universe, which is connected to God. And we have to slow down enough to hear that guidance from our own self, and then really trust. I always tell people in yoga, trust your body, trust your practice, trust what's coming up for you. Stop second guessing, stop doubting what your own body is telling you. And so when my female clients are like, I've been dating this guy and la 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 la, I'm like, so when you're with him, like, because like you're telling me all this about his job and how he does this and that, and like on paper, maybe he looks really good, right? I'm sure he's a great guy. When you're sitting next to him in your body,
what do you know?
Is he a yes or a no? Because if it's not a hell yes, it's probably a no.
No.
Yeah. And so then they're like, oh my God, like immediately are like, oh, yeah, I know that it's a no. And I'm like, well, then
but he's a doctor, but he's this, but he's that.
He has a great job. He's handsome. Okay.
Yeah, he's great in bed. Cool. But it's still a no. It's nothing wrong. Hey, have sex, girl, but it's a no.
We try to brain our way through. We think from the neck up, like so often thinking I have to do what makes sense, or I'm stuck on who my parents would want me to be with or whatever.
Yeah.
And this can work for anything, not just, you could pick your kombucha flavor, hold the two in your hand and figure out like, I lean forward when it's a yes, I lean back when it's a no. I don't know. Like, the more you slow down and you actually listen in every situation in your life, even when you're picking food to eat, right? I can sit and look at food and I know in my body what's a yes and what's a no. And I can't explain to you logically why I want this and not that. I'm not like, oh, because the macro. No, fuck that. I don't calories. I don't count macros. I don't know. I look at it and I'm like, my body wants that. That's food that someone who loves themselves would eat. That looks nourishing to me right now.
Brynn, I love this that we're discovering that you and I are body talkers. I love it.
But I only know how to do this because of the feminine practices that I do of taking the time to feel my body and slow down. I mean, there's a number of things, I don't know if you want me to talk about them on this show, that I've done to learn about my body, right? And to hear my, like so many women have never even looked at their own pussy until they're giving birth. And I'm like, yo, like, what?
Have you read the book? There's a book called Pussy.
Oh yeah, Pussy, a Reclamation. That's a I highly recommend
everybody buy it right now. Buy it right now.
I highly recommend that and The Wild Woman's Way.
Yes, I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
Incredible. Incredible books. Also, I read a book called Existential Kink. It's a little different than those books, but it's also good. Yes. But I love A Wild Woman's Way, and I love the book Pussy. And I would read it in public, and I didn't care. And this guy yelled across from me with his wife at a pool in Santa Monica. I was staying at a hotel in Santa Monica, and he's like, hey, he's like, does that book say what I think it says? And then his wife and him were just sitting over there staring at me. And I was like, I'm gonna come over there and talk to you guys. And the lady ended up opening her phone and ordering all the books I recommended off Amazon that second while we were at the pool. And I just thought, this is how it goes. Like, you know what? I don't care if my cover of my book says pussy in giant letters. Like, I need this. And so I highly recommend those books. And yeah, it really requires doing a lot of feeling into your body and actually listening to yourself instead of looking at your feminine body, your female body as weakness or as less than or as whatever, like the what does she call it, like the patriarchal, what does she call it, basically like society is like so masculine dominated, right? I'll think maybe it'll come to me what she calls it in the book, but society, and our masculine dominated society sometimes teaches us that we're not worthy, or we're not as knowing, or we're not as valuable, or that we're gross, right? Or that the stuff that happens in our body's disgusting, or like we're weak, we have so many feelings. And it's like, dude, those things are actually our superpower. And the reason men push them down is because it'd be fucking terrifying if all the women in the world realized how powerful we actually are.
And power doesn't mean to be overpowering, but we've made that definition for that word, and it doesn't actually mean that. It's potency. Dang. Okay, little side note, Brynn, same thing. I do the same thing. I ask my body, truth, show me what you would like to eat. So I talk to my body before I go out to eat.
Great.
And I know that I just got to trust it. And sometimes I'll order something and it didn't work, and it's just practice, right? But 99.9% of the time, my body will light up and look at something. So just on Sunday, I went to this restaurant with my boyfriend, and I was already in the conclusion, the expectation that I was going to order breakfast, right? We talked about expectations, letting those go. So I walk in and I said, hey, body, in my mind, hey, body, show me what you would like to eat. And right away it went to this, it was like a Cobb salad, and my body lit up. And I thought, I was trying to talk myself out, Cobb salad for breakfast, blah, 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 but you really wanted bacon and eggs, right? I'm like, okay, I trust you. So I go up, I'm going to order this Cobb salad. My boyfriend's like, I thought you wanted breakfast. Yeah, it looks good. Anyway, the salad came. It was freaking amazing. It was like the best salad. Okay.
What you wanted.
What I wanted, my body was lighting up. Like right now, it's all hot. I'm all hot. And then my boyfriend ate half my salad because it was that good. And he's looking at me.
Yeah, because he saw your magnetism. That's what women do. When there's something actually happened there that like we should point out, right? Like he ate half your salad because he was like, damn, that salad must be so fucking good. Looks so sexy the way she's eating it, because you were enjoying that salad. And I always talk about how pleasure, people think of the word pleasure, and it's not just about sex. It's about all your senses. We can find pleasure through smell, through taste, through our eyes, through our ears, and experience pleasure in our body. And your man was watching you experience pleasure with that choice that you made. And he watched you live in your feminine, which creates polarity, because he wants to be the masculine. And when you're in your feminine, he's like, that's hot. And all you did was pick out a damn Cobb salad and enjoy that salad in front of him. And he was like, give me a bite of that salad. Damn, like, what's that salad?
Exactly what happened. That's exactly. Yeah. So if you're listening and you're like, okay, I'm going to try this, just say, truth, hey, body, what would you like to eat? Show me what you would like to eat. Can you light up brighter? Like, just get curious. Can you give me goosebumps and I'm just going to go for it. And we're going to practice. We're just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
And another little side thing, talking about your clients, dating. Let's say you go on the dating apps or a guy walks by. I did this for a whole year, Brynn, before I met my current partner. And I would ask my body, hey, body, show me whom you would like to have sex with.
Woo!
Yep. And because a lot of times,
because that's what's going to light up. You're going to move from up here to down here.
There.
And the pussy power is going to tell you.
Because a lot of times we have like points of views. We already have expectations of what we think. Like a hot guy's going to be good in bed. You never know. So I would have just women. I would have men that would walk by me and it was like, ooh, right there. And I'm like, okay, body. Now I'm not like, again, it was my choice. I wasn't just opening up, but the point is I was opening up energetically so that when I went on the apps and I would swipe, I'd be like, hey, body, show me who you would like to be with. Show me who you would like to have sex with. And I just started from there, like just energetically open up.
Yeah. And then of course, there's all these other layers to relationship, right? Like layers and levels of intimacy that have nothing to do with sex, right? So then from there you can see, who am I actually compatible with, right? But like, with picking food, with picking clothes, with picking a career, with picking a partner, with making choices medically for yourself. I mean, anything, right? That you can really just. So if anyone's listening to this and you're like, damn, these girls are like witches, like this is so woo-woo to me, and they have some type of power. I don't. Like, no, we don't. I want to encourage you that we don't. We just have taken the time to slow down enough to listen and to be quiet enough to listen, to quiet that mind chatter and go, let me move my energy into my actual body. Let me put my hands on my heart, my hands on my belly. Let me wake up and put my hands on my pussy. I don't know, like you don't have to like touch yourself. Like you don't have to have an orgasm, but you could be like, I want to connect. Or maybe you do, I don't know. But like you could just say, I just want to connect. I feel like sometimes I'm like a 12-year-old boy with how much, oh my God, my man would kill me if he, not kill me, but like he'd be so embarrassed by me if he heard this. But sometimes I feel like a 12-year-old boy, like how much I put my hands on my pants when I'm in bed in the morning. And I'm like, I'm not really doing anything. I just like sometimes need to like get connected to myself and get out of my head. And sometimes that's the way that I know is like, sometimes it's hitting a child's pose, and putting my third eye on the ground. And other times like literally putting my hands on my pussy and being like, I need to like, or like when I meditate, I don't put my hands at heart center down by the sides anymore. Even in Shavasana, lately I'm hands on my body, like one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, because I just need to connect like to my actual body. And I promise, ladies, if you get out of the shame and the weird stories you've told yourself about what anything I'm saying means, and you just like really take the body that you were given and trust it and listen to it, like you have these powers too. You just have to remember. You're not finding anything that you don't already have or anything like that. You're just remembering. You're trusting. Yeah, you're trusting and you're remembering. And what I always say is, you'll see what you're meant to see when you're ready to see it. You'll see what you're meant to see when you're ready to see it. So the more you can practice this, like intuition and slowing down and listening to your yeses and nos through your body and getting out of your head, the better you'll get at it and the more confident you'll feel about listening to the answer. So at first, like you said, you're kind of in this practice, right? Of being like, I'm just going to go with this. And it might be surprising, right? You might be surprised by what your body leads you to, like when you wanted a Cobb salad instead of breakfast and you were like, what? But you were like, okay, like, and then look at how much you and your partner enjoyed that.
We're still talking about that damn Cobb salad.
But it's such a basic example, but that leads to like, if you can do it on that level, you can do it when you're making career decisions, when you're making for your health, when you're making big decisions, when you're making big choices for your life, right? Like that's when that will come into play. You start it on a small level of like little things like, what underwear do I want to wear today, right? And then it ends up trickling into a major level in your life where you're living. And the reason why is this important? It's like, it's important because this is how we trust the universe. And when we trust the universe, we can live in peace. When we trust God's plan, that God has a plan for us. I always remind myself, like, I'm not the general manager of the universe, right? I like can take off that like crown and my self-proclaimed title and just like live and take off that pressure, right? Of being like, I have to have it all figured out. I have to know everything. And it's like, no, just one day at a time, you listen and you get the answers. And then it's so much less stressful. We live in so much stress, and also living paths and lives that aren't ours because we think it's what we're supposed to be doing. And it's like, damn, if we could just listen in to what our body is actually telling us, and our inner truth is telling us, we can stop living a life someone else had planned for us or that we think society wants to see us live, and instead start living the life that's meant to be ours, the life that God created for us, the life where we trust the timing of the universe, where we trust that everything happens in its perfect timing. And if you're here, it's because you're meant to be here. It's not an accident. Wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. Joanna, did you ever notice that nobody ever says, I'm ahead of schedule? Oh my God, I wasn't supposed to like work at Spangle already. That was supposed to happen like in 2026. But like I started last year. I'm just ahead. Like nobody ever does that. We only do the shame shitstorm and go, I'm behind. I should already be here. I should already be married. I should already have a baby. I should already have this career. I should already have this income. And it's like shit all over yourself.
You should all over yourself. I love that one.
And it's like, no, you're exactly where you're meant to be right now because it's where you are. Right. And so we have to remember that and trust the timing of everything that happens, even when it's stuff that's so hard and we don't understand why it's happening.
Yeah. Truth. What is mine? What is mine? What is mine and what is not mine? Oh, I've had so many goals and dreams and aspirations that were not mine. And I bought them when I was young last week and I put them on like a jacket and I wore it for a very long time. And it could always change. Like I just same little samples. I'll wake up in the morning. Hey, body, what would you like to wear today? Because if I go on my past, this is what I've always worn, and these are the colors that I wear, and this is what I like. Well, what if I change my mind today? What if I would like to choose something different? Today, my body would like to wear something different. And today, my body wanted it off the shoulder. And I was like, let's do it, girl. Body, what would you like to wear today? What would you like? Because our body, we are our best friends. Like you said, how would I coach my friend? How would I, if I was putting on clothes to my best friend, would I just shove clothes on her or him? I would say, hey, what would you like to wear today? Like your 3 bonus children, you say, what would you like to wear? You're not just shoving clothes on them, right? Like, well, oh, I want to wear this. Okay, cool. So that's what I do with my body. Hey, what would you like to wear today? And she'll just show me, okay, let's try this. Okay.
You start practicing it on that small level and it trickles, like I said, into like the very important bigger things in life, right? And like, another thing about time is that there's some things where we can look back right now, and anyone who's listening to this, you can think like there's things. Oh, I gotta plug my computer in. There's things we can look back at, right? Like right now and go, I know why that thing that I wanted to work out didn't work out. Right? Like you can think of things that didn't work out for you right now in this moment and be like, I literally know why that didn't work. Mm-hmm. There's other things, right? Like say it's like you're like a guy I had like a major crush on in high school and then like it didn't work out and I like spent days in my room crying about it and was like, wow, I thought I had this fairy tale vision of like da-da. And now I'm like marrying the best love and partner of my entire life, and I'm like, obviously that thing I was crying about in high school or college like didn't work or that guy that cheated on me in college, like obviously now I look back and I'm like, oh, that was horrible at the time. And now I understand like it was all in its perfect timing for the perfect reason, right? There's other things that are going to happen that we will never know why they happened, that we may never have the answers to. We will drive ourselves crazy and torture ourselves trying to understand. And so I think it's important, and that's where that idea of surrender and trust comes in, of going, I don't need to know why. I only need to know what to do next. I don't need to know why what I'm going through right now, like why I'm going through it. I will never understand some of the things I'm going through right now in my personal body and health. And I don't need to know why. And that's where the trust comes in. My trust in God, my faith, stepping forward in faith, my trust in the timing of the universe, that everything's happening. It's perfect timing. And it's time to surrender and move forward. We'll get stuck in the past full of anxiety, full of stress, full of self-doubt if we keep trying to figure out the whys. Doesn't matter why. Sometimes we just have to go, okay, body, universe, God, higher, whatever you pray to, please show me what the next step is that I need to take. And you go forward one step at a time.
One choice at a time. Brynn, this was such a great conversation. We went over, but it was damn good, girl. And I hope everybody listening got some great diamonds and nuggets from this one. Follow Brynn on Instagram. Is it Brynn Moves? What's your handle?
BRYNNMOVES.
And listen to her podcast. Check it out. Subscribe at Brynn Moves podcast. And anything else, Brynn, that you would like to share or how people can get a hold of you? Is Instagram the best way?
Yeah, Instagram's great. I'm pretty active there. I have a new website that's getting built, so the link will be up soon for that. But honestly, I just love to build genuine connections and have personal conversations. So just DM me on Instagram if you want to chat about anything that came up during this podcast or anything else. And obviously, Joanna and I are here to support all of you who are listening in. And like we said, like we work together and like you need that sister tribe. So we're here for you. And Joanna will actually be a guest on my podcast as well.
Yay.
So I can't wait to have you on and kind of interview you and hear, more about all the amazing things you share. So that show will actually be recorded tomorrow and it will go live on Sunday, the 16th. So we'll have a second show for you guys to listen into where we'll dive into even more juicy goodness with Joanna on my podcast too. So yeah, thank you. And I hope that you feel, like I said, inspired and empowered after listening to this. You guys, anyone who's listening in, just take what works, leave the rest, and share it with a friend, like whoever needs to hear this, like send it to them too. I love when people send me a podcast to listen to. It just I don't know, whenever I'm going through something and someone goes, I have a podcast for that, I'm like, thank God, and I listen to it while I'm driving or whatever. So, share this with someone who needs to hear it too. And trust and surrender, even though it's so hard. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah.
I love to laugh. It's like, let's just laugh through it, right? Oh, and what's heavy is false and what's light is true. So when I laugh, it's because it's like so true and fun. Yeah. Brynn, this was such a gift. I hope everybody listening received something. And start by asking your body if there's like one thing, maybe there's something else that you took away from today's show, but if there's that one little thing that you're like, I'm not sure, start asking your body, hey body, what would you, and then XYZ, what would you like here? And pick up that book, Pussy, because it's phenomenal.
That book is so good. Seriously, read that and A Wild Woman's Way. Those are your two books for January and February. Perfect around Valentine's Day. If you celebrate that, I think why not be your own Valentine and treat yourself to really great books about your own femininity.
A couple years ago for my dad's birthday, I bought him the book Pussy and he loved it too. And he was telling everybody, and he wanted to read it in front of everybody just to get a rise out of people. My dad is a little different too, but I just love it. Thank you all for listening. Brynn, it was so freaking fun. We appreciate it. And we will talk to you next time. See ya.